Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Non-Corporate Girls. This is episode 123 and we're super excited for you guys to be here, but I'm going to let Ayanna let us know what the title of this episode is.
Yes, the title of this episode is The Evolution of NCG. And it was so fitting, right? Like when we were trying to think about what should we call this episode? What does it mean to us? And we really have evolved.
We have, and it's a surprise to me what we ended up titling it with because Ayanna gave me a couple of options and I felt like they were all fitting. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of not shocked you picked this one because I felt like this one was the best one. And it really is a testament, like the evolution of NCG, like we always speak about, you know, our growth and how we change, and, you know, the purpose and the vision still remains like at our core the same, but we have definitely pivoted about how we go in reaching and achieving those goals.
Yes, and first of all, can I just say that I love the DNA of NCG because even in your language of how you're talking about this is what we say. Like, it just feels like, I feel, and I've said this before, I feel like season 6 has been the season that has really redefined us. Like, I really feel that way. Like, right?
It's true, and it's funny because if you guys are into numerology and numbers, 7 embarks like a new beginning. So whatever we're stepping into is brand new.
It's like we receive it, bring it all to us. Okay, so this is our last episode. Season 6 is about to be a wrap. We're ending on 123 episodes. If you tuned into our previous episode, you already know that we had the lovely Tequila White, who was our 43rd guest. So we've had 43 guests, 6 seasons, 123 episodes. I mean,
the numbers are numbering, like we have the receipts. We have the receipts, and if we don't come back, it's probably because we got picked up. You know, I feel like the next step could possibly be a show on someone's network. Like, reach out to your girls. We are so ready.
Book us. Okay, so we're going to set this up for you. You know, when we do our last episode every season, we always do something fun, like an open letter or something like that. And so this is going to be our open letter to you all. We had the great idea, Delaila initiated this, where we did a That's a Wrap survey to our community, who's our hashtag obsessed with this week, and really just trying to get ideas and understanding from you all on what you want to see from us in the future, how you felt about these past 6 seasons, what you've learned, and just like any well wishes you wanted to share our way. And so shout out to the community because y'all really came through with the feedback, and we thoroughly appreciate it. Yes. But before we can get into any of that, let's start with a positive note. And we have a prompt for this positive note, right? So our positive note is a reflection on what NCG has meant to us over the past 6 seasons. And Delaila, you're going to kick us off because you said a really great one-liner, I guess.
Yes. So, you know, as we were thinking about this, it always comes down to reflection and what we want to like kind of harp on. And for me, I found grounding in having to show up each time despite the hard days. For anyone who has been listening, I've been very transparent and vulnerable on many episodes, especially the last several ones, because I've just hit some tough waters, and we all go through them, but all at a different time in our lives. And just having to show up for NCG and know and really strongly believe in what I know this can become, what it's becoming, and the impact it already has, it has been really grounding for me. I know that, and I've learned that, you know, we're not tied to a job or none of those things define us. But I feel like a piece of what I'm made up of has been shared with Non-Corporate Girls, because this is our digital diary. And so like in real time is something we express so strongly and so candidly because it really is what we're going through in the present moment as we're trying to grow this and grow as people ourselves.
I love that. And I think my favorite word there is grounding, right? I feel like and you've said it too on this season, I feel like you've been your most vulnerable, which is interesting because we get asked this a lot, like, how do we feel like being so transparent, putting it out there across these past seasons, which we have. But I feel like there's something about this season that you've definitely like been even more vulnerable, if that's even possible, I guess, but you really have. So I think grounding is a good way of describing this.
No, absolutely. It's more like leaning forward, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes we try to avoid or suppress or trying to make it seem like we have it all together when we don't. And I noticed, and that comes with authenticity, but also not being afraid in what judgment comes of that. And I feel like for anyone listening, lean into what it is that you feel and express that to people, because you just don't know how being open is going to really be transformative, because it has been for me.
Amen to that. All right. So my positive note is kind of along the same lines, but in these past 6 seasons, I've truly felt connected to a sense of purpose that feels bigger than us. And I say that because I think when we first started, we knew that we wanted to create a community, or rather we knew that there was other people that felt like us, but the community that we've built, I think these responses from our survey are good receipts as well, that really show us that this is so much bigger than us. And it's just always, it warms my heart every time like I meet someone or talk to someone, and you know, we're talking about, let's say, a million different topics that fall within NCG, and they actually connect the dots. They're like, but that's what you guys talk about. Like, you guys do that. You talk about this world. And it's just like, wow, like y'all are listening. Yeah. And it makes me feel like this is just bigger than us. And it helps lean into like what's next, because more people need to know this, you know, like we are here for the people.
And people want it, right? It's sometimes like one of those things where like, you don't know you need something until you find out that it exists. And then you see how it can add so much value. And I know that in just what we bring to the table and how we show up, we definitely aim to always add value to every situation. And I think also it comes down to us, like, this kind of rolls off the tongue for us at this point. And so sometimes we undermine how like amazing we are. No, really, because people tell us and they remind us, but we go about it like casually, and maybe there needs to be a little bit of a change in that attitude so that we could take up the space that people want us to take up.
I agree 100%. And this is all aligned with the conversations and the thinking we've been having all year, right? Like, we've really been having moments where we're like, we need to position ourselves better because we are the brand, and literally it's in our DNA. Like the things we do, how we operate, how our sermons for life, it's all part of this, right? And so I think that this is a good opportunity for us to kind of segue into let's talk about it and kind of share some of these responses that the community is saying. So I'll start. Like, one of the questions we asked was, what is the perception of NCG, and how has our brand or content supported people in their journeys, right? So someone said, NCG tackles the issues of those struggling through the daily grind in order to reach the lifelong dream. As someone who has worked corporate, it's refreshing to hear stories and anecdotes to help make things easier. It's comforting to know others share the same issues as I do or did. And that, to me, that's like the whole reason why we started.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, it was out of our own grind.
Exactly.
And needing to be heard and feeling like there has to be a better way. And so we created it.
Another one that I really liked too was about our guests, right? We've had can we talk about our guest journey?
Yes.
43 guests. We've had
so diverse.
That's literally what someone says. They go, before you continue, they go, NCG continues to highlight a wide range of guests from all backgrounds. It gives me reassurance that life isn't a race. As long as you keep your eye on what you want, you will get it.
Yes. Like, we've had people of the queer community. We had men. We have women. We had people closer to middle class age, younger people in their 20s. Like, the perspectives have been really endless.
Yep.
And everybody still has a commonality, even along so much differences.
Yes, and the commonality is redefining how you pivot and really creating that life by design. And I want to stress that because for those of you who've been following us for a long time, you know that we tap into 3 different pillars: the 9 to 5, the 5 to 9, and where they meet. And literally all of our guests have like crossed all of those, you know, whether some are still there now or not, they've all crossed those worlds. And so the advice that they give and just kind of like the path that they've shown has been really inspirational.
It has been. And it just is really just a testament of us sharing. I think the more that we put out, the more like people could connect, because again, people always ask me, I don't know if you get this question, like, what episode should I start with?
I know.
And I'm just like, honestly, it wasn't intended to go in any chronological order. I feel like this is why we were very intentional in how we how we title our episodes and like the blurbs we share, because we want you to be able to find exactly what you were looking for, like in a library. And so depending where you are in your journey, we was there to assist in some way, to offer support, give guidance, give resources. Like someone said, it's just getting those anecdotes from people, like, you know, our guests. And so all of it was really thought out, even though it seems like, you know, this is just something that we do. We're really intentional of how we kind of share our episodes out.
Yeah, so many things to touch on what you said. So first of all, that also goes back to the fact that this is not just an easy thing. Creating a podcast is rough. We tell y'all this all the time. It takes work. And so we're very intentional and strategic with how we roll things out. So that's one. And two, in terms of just like the journey, it's kind of like, we really want to make sure, we know that our content's evergreen, right? Like literally everything that we're sharing, even though we've evolved in like our journeys, someone else could be starting out. And so the episodes really meet you where you're at, you know? And I think, to your point, that was hella intentional. And I think, honestly, that's one of the best things about our podcast.
It is, because you could be someone graduating college, or you could be someone like leaving corporate America to embark on like this dream of yours. And there's still an episode there that coincides with that frame of mind, that thought of like just the idea, even if it's a small idea that you don't even know how to bring to fruition, there's an episode that could help meet you there as well.
100%. Some more great things from the community. So one person says, my perception of NCG is listening to get inspired by stories of independence, personal growth, learning experiences, and overall personal journeys of A&D and their guests that they have on the show. So people are tuned in to the journey.
They are. And I feel like people really they really like embrace like the things that we share, and, you know, the point of views that we contribute, you know, like I think what we have to say on certain matters really matter to others. You know, it's not like we're just
100%.
jumping, like going back and forth on thoughts, and it's just like kind of thrown in the air.
Right, like no direction.
Correct.
And so another good response that came in that touches on that is two down-to-earth girls that know their shit and know some pretty cool people too. Hello, guys. It's been inspirational and relatable. Like inspirational, relatable. I think that's like a check.
This is where we came with the term business besties. We really are your business besties. And we're just here to support. We really thrive in seeing our community and hearing those stories of people who have reached what their definition of success is because of something they heard on the podcast. Like for us, that's really the metric these days, because how else can you know the success besides downloads? I feel like those testaments of people sharing firsthand how something that they heard on our podcast like resonated, that I feel like that's who we do it for.
100%. And even Tequila shared that last week, right? Like, how do you measure success beyond the like analytics? What does that look like? And it's really brand sentiment, right? And this is really the pulse that we were trying to do. So two testimonials that really work for this section right here. My perception of NCG is that Ayanna and Delaila are my corporate-ish girls. They'll share experiences I'm going through or will likely go through. I look to the show for a sense of community in a white man corporate world.
Okay. And you know what sticks out to me here is experiences that I will likely go through.
Yes.
Because for us, we always say if we could avoid you from heading down that path that doesn't serve you, then we also did our job. Because why repeat the mistake when we can tell you exactly the lessons we learned and give you guys that guidance so that you can avoid those pitfalls.
100%. And that's why we go back to like being intentional with the episodes, the content that we're sharing, and really meeting you on your journey. Another one says, I'm a young woman of color just getting started in my career. NCG has given me insight into the way in which the corporate world works. Boundary setting and self-preservation is a must in maintaining a healthy work-life balance, and I've learned a lot in this front from NCG.
Yeah.
Like, that warms my heart.
It does warm my heart. You guys, really putting on like this last episode, like we're gonna look at this, whether it be in a week, in a month, 3 months, and really reflect back and just see how far we come. We're super hard on ourselves, but it's only because we see the greatness and the potential, and we know that what it takes for it to get expansive and reach the amount of people we would like. But I know that we're so much closer than we even could imagine.
Yes, and just going through some of these responses too, a lot of, so obviously hands down our guests are always A1. So people love episodes with our guests. But I think the thing that always warms my heart is people really love episodes with us and the type of episodes we talk about. And so some people listed here like commitment to professional growth, redefining how you pivot, permission to beg, to brag or not. Like these are all episodes of just me and Delaila just talking about our experiences and tips and tricks and what we've learned. And people have checked for those. Like these are some of their favorite episodes.
I know. And we're so funny. I think we're really funny. Like, we're funny. People be telling me, and I don't even try. It's just like, thanks, Mom. Or whoever gave me this.
It's
like,
natural.
It just comes. It's like, because we're not trying to take things too serious either. Like, we still live lives. We still have our own, like, personal goals. We, come from families that support us. Like, we have an expansive life, and it's not only about, how to flourish in this business, but just how to flourish as human beings so that we enjoy every aspect of life, even those downfalls, because then it helps us to appreciate when things are up.
100%. And again, this is why we say in one word or one statement, redefining how you pivot is just the perfect thing. Because yes, we're really connecting where the 9 to 5 and 5 to 9 meet, but we also want people to understand that you are human first. You are your own brand first. And it doesn't matter whether you're in a corporate space or non-corporate space, how you identify with that, how you bring all of these things into your world for your full wellness, that holistic wellness experience really matters. And we talk to so many layers of like the human identity in different ways.
We have, and it goes back to evolution, right?
Yep.
Because as we have grown as people and as people in the workforce and just humans in general, like you got married during the duration
oh my gosh.
of like us recording this. So there's a lot of personal milestones and goals that we've achieved. And those things matter, right? Because as you evolve, I think it's important to think about like you in a relationship. You may go in that relationship being one way, and 5 years later, like something happens that changes you. And I feel like if we have that approach to business, we won't hold on so tightly to things when it looks different. It's okay to accept the change that's gonna come. I think it's always with a mindset because we want it to be successful. So knowing when to let go. And I think that's part of this evolution, is knowing when to not force certain things that are really not working for us, and being okay with that. We didn't fail. It's just we need to try another way.
Yeah, I think you double down on something really important there, that failure piece, right? Because we feel that way often. It's just being honest, and so do so many people, though. And it's just like, what is it? How do you shift your mindset from like, I didn't fail, this was a lesson I needed to learn, and I can pivot and I can like do something different or come at this differently, and I can have a different outcome. Like, it doesn't mean that you failed.
Yes, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because a lesson that I am working through and something that I'm embracing, and I feel like for others listening, it might help you do well moving forward, is to fail faster. And with failing faster, it doesn't mean necessarily that something went wrong, but it means that you didn't put any roadblocks to stop you from doing. Because most of the times we cripple ourselves from taking those next steps because we're afraid, right? But then you're not doing anything. Whereas you move forward and take the steps, whether you don't get the outcome you want, in your word, it could be called failure. But if you fail faster, you can learn the lessons, pick up the pieces, and then try a different way and move the process forward.
Yes, I love that you said that. And it's so funny because literally today, just in my work, like 9 to 5 work life, I made a decision about like just like removing myself from like one of the things I'm part of, and I'm part of so many things, right? And I had to have a moment with myself, like, I didn't fail at this, right? Like, I tried it. It's not what I thought. It's not working for me. And how can I like redirect to fit something in that fuels me better and maybe gives me a different outcome than what I thought I was going to get with this. And so I really had to have that. I literally had that moment today with myself. And it was like, once I had that moment though, I felt a sense of relief.
You see?
Literally, I was like, it's literally like I was holding my breath and I just like let it out. I felt so good about the decision that I made.
I feel you, because girl, with practicing no, sometimes it really takes a moment to just reframe your mindset, because often I feel overwhelmed. I'm the person naturally who wants to do everything and be everything to everyone. Like if it's your birthday, I want to be a plan. Like I do more for you than you would do for yourself type of person, right? And lately, the way I've taken a step back from just feeling, I don't know how to say in English, but it's overwhelmed. I was going to say hita, but in English it's overwhelmed, is literally saying, I don't have to do that.
Nope.
Like, you don't have to do that.
Nope.
You feel the way you're feeling because you are putting too much on your plate than you can handle. You could simply just not do it.
Right, because who told you to put all of this on your plate?
Exactly. It's just like, I don't know, my own like wanting to and willingness, which is fine to have that, but you have to assess what's currently on your plate. Or if the outcome is not coming out like as easy and you feel like you're bumping your head on the wall, then freaking take a chill pill and sit back. Like, it don't have to be done, or ask somebody else to do it.
Facts. As we like to say here on NCG, have some discernment.
Have some discernment.
That's our latest.
Because sometimes we got to check ourselves.
Sometimes. Often.
Yeah.
Often.
And being honest. Like, I feel like NCG and just everything we've done, there's a level of honesty that you have to have, because it's going to come to you one way or another. And it's usually going to be in a manner that it's not very kind.
Oh, my God. I mean, again, I feel like the transparency, the rawness, the vulnerability that we've had across these seasons, and especially in season 6, has been eye-opening. I feel like we've both grown personally in the last like 8 months just doing
like
this.
We are ready to be on panels and speak of this.
Well, we will be on. Okay, book us. All right. Okay, so wait, shifting gears a little bit, I definitely want to get into some kudos that people are giving us, but before we get there, do you have from season 6 a favorite episode?
Ooh, okay. A favorite episode from season 6.
I know it's so many, and it's hard because there's all our guests are amazing. Those are great episodes, and then the ones with us. I know I can start and say that one of my favorite, I don't know if it's it's the best episode for season 6 for me, but one of my favorite episodes, we can say that, is the Founders Q&A. I really enjoyed that because we've never interviewed each other. So that was a first, which is, as you do something like this, a podcast, you got to get real creative about how you continue to like evolve each season and what does that look like. And so we're constantly changing up language. We're constantly changing up direction of what we do. And to have that moment and to have like some really deep questions that really like shared a lot about who we are and our growth, I thought that was really special. I thought it was a special moment.
I think so too. And even though as much as you guys think like me and Ayanna like always around each other 24/7, I think we learned some new things in that episode that we didn't, because the intent was to ask questions and not tell each other what the questions were.
It was fun. I really like that. Okay, so what's yours?
For me, I think again, not probably isn't like top in listenership or download,
but like a favorite.
But a favorite has to be The Art of Conversation.
Oh my God, that was so good.
That was a really good episode. I feel like it's so necessary for so many reasons. And it also just brings me back because one of the biggest compliments that I'm always so flattered by is how me and Ayanna just connect.
Yeah.
Like, it's very little planning in how the conversation is going to go. Yes, we discuss what we're going to speak about, but all of this is just vibes. And just like knowing each other, and like we fuck with each other heavy. We support each other. Ayanna has like really been so supportive in career milestones or just things I'm trying to accomplish. Like, we just kind of get it. And I think it's so fortunate because I didn't realize that's something that's hard or like people have to practice
until we like talk to other people, and like we've gone to panels where people are like, co-founders and this and that, and it's just like, that's not our problem.
Yeah, that's not the problem we have. Fortunately, we just kind of like go with the motion, go with the flow. And I don't know, we always feel we can learn from one another. I know I learned so much from you.
Oh my God, likewise. And so again, not to brag, but brag. This season we've actually been super fortunate to have a couple of press hits, right? Which is I think the most we've had since we've started, which is really cool. Shout out to Raven for helping us out. But I think like we just did we just did an interview with Open for BronxNet, and that was such a good interview. But I also love that we talked a lot about that one and Novia Rose. We talked a lot about accountability, being each other's accountability partners, and just like naturally kind of like, you know, obviously like caring and loving one another and being friends, but really like supporting each other as humans first. And I think that's really important because a lot of people, you know, going back to like the whole people feel identified by their job and this and that. And it's like, we just look at each other as people. We want to support each other with the growth. And I think that's what shows on the pod.
It does, because behind the scenes, you guys haven't even seen, there was times we would cancel or reschedule because we were having a shitty ass day. And like just being,
and it's so
sincere.
special though. Yeah, sincere is a good word. It's so to like just be able to have that space.
Even though I think me and Ayanna both at one point approached it, because like just recently she had to reschedule one of our touch bases, and there's still like a sense of guilt because we really are intentional with like each other's time. And so if we have to reschedule, we feel like, even though the only people we need to like check with is each other, you would think there's a whole team of people we have to reschedule with the way we go about it. But it's just, that's the level of respect that we have for one another, and how we go about like running the business. Because we also always think that if we did have a team, how would we want to treat them? What experience they would want to have working for us or with us? Because those are the very things we've been trying to tackle. You know, hence this podcast.
And it's so good too though, because we're setting ourselves up like because we have such strong like worth ethic with how we approach this, even though we're just a 3-person team. You know,
you would think it's 10 of us.
Yeah, and that feels good. I mean, that's, you know, that's been a good accomplishment. All right, so getting into just a little bit of kudos. People are saying from our like survey, people love a positive note. It's one of the top segments that people love.
Which I was really shocked about. I thought it was gonna be let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I thought it would be just because of the questions we pose, and that's when we really get into the tea.
And I feel like it is, but I feel like there's something different about us starting each episode on a positive note. And I think that just resonates.
No, absolutely. And because a lot of us, it's so easy to complain. And it's not saying that we don't have rough days, but like, let's not stay in that space for too long. Let's look at the amazing things that happen, whether it's throughout the week. Sometimes we got to tap back in to get re-energized.
That part. Another person said that they love hearing how the founders share their stories. They think that both of us have great insight, ask great questions, and produce great content.
You know, we love to give you the tea, so we're always going to come strong on that front, because I always have something to share. Growing up, I was told I was going to be a lawyer.
I know, you tell me this often,
all the time, and maybe in my next life I'm gonna pursue that. But
there are some times when you do things and I'm just like, this is your lawyering coming out, because
baby, we are always gonna try to finesse.
So yeah, let's see what else.
I'm trying to.
People are like, they really enjoy topics that help realize that this is a process. This life that we're all living is a process. It's a journey. They really love how we tackle those topics really well. Some of their favorite topics are hearing stories of people dealing with, or us dealing with, any mental health, and really understanding the lessons for that light at the end of the tunnel, and topics that really help people feel like when they're at their lowest, feeling that they have like a motivation to thrive and what's next. So people really love that.
Yes. And I love that somebody mentioned like being taught like beyond the podcast. Like there's so many other aspects of creating a business. Even though we're not experts on those aspects,
right,
we still kind of guided you to that direction or where to go. Or, you know, it's like we don't have the information, we know someone who does, because our network is wide and vast. So we're always going to be able to lead you.
Yeah. The resources. Resources is a big one.
Which look out for the hub.
Yes, shout out to us who
Yes.
who will be launching our hub hopefully by fall, but it's really it's for all of this. It's really because honestly, how do we take all the things that we've learned and talked about over the course of 6 seasons from amazing experts and package that into something that's like
Tangible.
downloadable, and downloadable, easy. And so the hub, NCG Hub, coming to a platform near you.
Yes. Think of it as like your go-to reference for things you heard on the podcast that you want to like revisit at a later time. So the
Yeah.
hub, it will live in the hub. So definitely we're looking for experts, people in business, accounting, branding, strategy. Definitely partner with us because we are working with trying to amplify what it is you do by way of the hub.
Agreed. So we're looking forward to that. Okay, and just some like just other thoughts. Like people are like, well, more people want to see live episodes. And so that's something we haven't done since season, I don't know, 4.
Yeah, I think it was like around.
So that's a thought. I mean, obviously, like Delaila said, hopefully we have like a network and a crew, and so that will help this. But people want to see live episodes. They like seeing us in person. YouTube has been a game changer. Us going video has been great. So people love that. Other things here, content is so real. Keep it coming. Don't stop. Don't water down. People are like, our growth and consistency has been so amazing and phenomenal to watch. Keep thriving. People are like, we have been the most consistent, which is our word.
It is our word. And like a lot of the things we preach and brag, like we are living that and doing it because we're walking the walk, talking the talk. That's half the battle because if anybody knows, pursuing anything, like there's some days where it's just tougher than others. So the fact that we kept at it, we only know that something big is going to come of this.
Yes. And oh my God, more people are like, this video component, great. Keep it coming. Somebody wrote, keep going, don't stop doing this. It's a great show, period.
It's the engagement for me.
Love all of that. Oh my God. Like, so can I just say like this, we send out a lot of surveys, I feel like throughout time, but I feel like this survey has been like the best. It has been like the most well received, I think. And I think that it's just a testament to like what's next, the evolution and what we want to do, right? And so as we look to wrap up season 6, what are some things we want to do for the future? What are some things we haven't talked about?
So we definitely want to put ourselves out there as we know we're the experts, but we need you guys to know that we're the experts. So I think putting ourselves in more rooms to have those conversations, kind of not hiding behind the podcast because we have so much more to offer. And that so part. Like it's a little bit of our crutch.
And it happened, right? Like, I don't think we intentionally thought it would be a crutch. I think it just became easy for it to be.
Yes, because we, like, mastered it in a sense. So it's like, what's the next challenge?
Yeah.
And so the hub is going to do that. It's going to push our limits. It's going to push the boundaries, push the envelope, because now we have to get into a whole different groove of how we're going to master getting that information out there and you know, how that's going to look. So I think I'm excited for that challenge for sure. And we have so many ideas. It's just like honing in on them and knowing that we can't do it. We can do it all, but we can't do it all at the same time.
That part. And I think that, and someone even mentioned it here, really looking forward to seeing us thrive as businesswomen, right? Like, you know, the podcast is one element to the brand, but I think in the past 6 seasons, we've really created this community that's more than the podcast. And so now it's up to us to really like run with that and figure out how we're going to implement that and just really have that transcend, because we already know the impact. We've seen it. You guys have said it. So it's now for us to really like take all of this and like really make sure that we're having the right touch points available to you. You feel like you're getting the brand.
Yeah, and we're also minority women-owned business, so we have the MWBE certification, and we're also DOE vendors. So there's like different opportunities and pathways that we can take. It's just us making sense of what makes the best sense and how we can expound on those.
Yes, and so I think, I don't know, like before we even started the podcast, Delaila asked me like, how am I feeling? And I was like, I'm feeling grateful because I just feel like, you know, however many years ago when we randomly decided to start a podcast, we didn't know ish about starting the podcast. And we were like, we're just going to do this. This is what we're going to do. And for it to have grown into what it is now, it's really special. And through the hardships, and there have been so many hardships through all of it.
It has, like, and who would have thought a podcast, right? Because
who would have thought?
Other mediums or other ideas. Me and Ayanna has so many, but this is the one that really like brought us the most joy. It gave us the ability to like really put forward our skill set, strengthen the things that we are already good at.
Yeah.
And so it like kind of just was a culmination of everything like that we're capable of.
Yeah. And it's crazy. And, you know, we have a lot of guests that talk about this often, that like their pathways to entrepreneurship or whatever that looks like has been things that they've done, but they just didn't have a name for it. It didn't come to light until it came to light in this way. And I think that was a good thing that you said, because everything that we do on the pod is like what we love to do. Storytelling, right? Talking to people when we want to.
Connecting.
Right. Because outside of that, you know, I have how I feel about people.
She's an introvert.
Networking, right? Being a vessel essentially for just all the tips and resources for people in corporate worlds, non-corporate worlds, and really kind of bringing that together. Media, right? There's just so many things that we've kind of dabbled in without even knowing we would dabble in.
Research, investigating, like, you know, when it comes to like planning the episodes, even when it comes to the guests we have, we really do our due diligence and make sure that we're like finding out information or digging into something deeper that's not like easily Googled. Like we really try to have, I think another great input we get is like the questions we ask our guests.
It is a top compliment for sure. It's always different we're always just a little bit different, you know, and also where every episode, especially for a guest, is very intentional. It's very, it's created specifically for that person in mind. Like none of them are the same.
Yeah, no episodes are like when it comes to like questions and like the games we play, and that's where a lot of the effort goes into in creating that. And so with that being said, this final episode for now is just asking you all for the support. If you really rock with us, like put us in positions to win, put us in positions to connect with people that you feel can elevate and help us leverage the content. I mean, you guys see the material. So let's all together as a collective take it to the next level.
Yes, and that's a good segue into hashtag obsessed with, because our hashtag obsessed with this week is you, our community. Like, we could not have made it to 6 seasons without you, and y'all ride hard, you know, like when y'all ride, y'all definitely ride hard.
Yes, y'all do. Y'all show up, y'all have come to our events, y'all have filled out surveys, the engagement on social, telling a friend to tell another friend about listening to a podcast.
Our newsletter
that we have like going like maybe over 350 subscribers now and growing. So all of those things are like pieces of us that we try to have an extension of community building with, and just offering you guys as much as possible in the process.
Yes. And so that's it. Like, I mean,
for now, because we ain't going nowhere. You're gonna see more of us just in another medium. Okay.
Yes, this is it. Season 6, 123 episodes. I can't stop saying that. Like, I feel like I'm gonna be saying that for a few.
123. Like, that is not like that's over 100 episodes of content. That's like, I don't even know how many hours. Our episodes are about an hour and a half. Yeah, that's 100 and about 30 hours of us talking.
Okay, I'm glad you're doing the math in there.
And I'm not even good at math, but like, come on, like, guys, help me here.
I can't. But like Delaila said, the call to action is book us, basically.
Yes, and forward this episode to others. Engage with us on social, follow, even give more feedback if there's an idea that you feel like it's something we should try to approach and give it a go. We're always open for that too.
Yes, so thank you so much. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. It's the evolution of NCG, the next chapter, and we're going to see y'all on the flip side.
Bye.
We are so done.
It's the episode finishing in 40 minutes for me.
Yes.
That was good. That was